My favorite altcoin Chainlink is ready for a massive pump. Both a monthly, weekly and daily time frame are looking for a massive pump towards the upside, maybe even towards $30 for one Chainlink. Let's start off on a monthly time frame because this chart just looks absolutely prime. Because what we could see is that in the previous bull run, Chainlink saw this massive run towards the upside right over here. But while getting this massive run towards the upside, it left behind massive liquidity beneath this low over here and also some more liquidity beneath the low over here. Now what we can see when we extend these lows to the left again is that the price of Chainlink within the previous bear market went all the way back towards that massive liquidity pool and then started moving sideways for around a year within that massive liquidity pool. Now we know that sideways movements inside of big liquidity pools often mark important accumulation areas or important distribution areas. But obviously after such a big impulse towards the downside, this was a massive accumulation area. This is where most people started panic selling their Chainlink, and who was absorbing that sell and short pressure? Smart money, obviously. So smart money was using the stops that were resting beneath this low and beneath this low, and they were also absorbing the sell and short pressure to fill their own bigger buy and long orders over here. Now obviously smart money needs an area to get rid of those buy and long positions again. I think that area is resting around this week right over here, but more about that later. But that basically means that all those long and buy positions that were accumulated by smart money over here, they are still active. And until we take out this buy side liquidity pool, and until smart money gets the time and opportunity to sell those buy and long positions again, I am high time frame bullish on Chainlink. Now afterwards, what we could see is that we got a first initial impulse to the upside, and we saw a beautiful retest over here of the previous accumulation area. So if we extend that previous accumulation area to the right, we can see that this red candle over here made a beautiful retest of the previous accumulation area, and afterwards we saw another strong bounce that once again made us break the previous high over here, meaning that within this red candle on the monthly time frame, a lot of demand was showing up over here. Okay, so we can mark this out as a very important demand candle, because while tapping into the previous accumulation area, the price was also filling this imbalance of price right over here on the monthly time frame. So this red candle, in my opinion, was very important to be defended by the bulls on Chainlink. So what we can see afterwards is that indeed we saw another push towards the upside and made a new high, but we went all the way back down again to once again retest that demand candle. So far it looks like that the retest of the demand is going to be a successful one. Whoops, you don't want your portfolio to drop like that. So make sure to like and subscribe, and let's keep things steady. On the weekly time frame, there's a beautiful range visible for Chainlink as well. Now this also explains my take profit target on Chainlink, because when I mark out this range over here and I select the range levels, what we can see is that we have a beautiful range low that was formed over here with this piece of price action and this retest over here before we saw this massive impulse towards the upside. The first time that we saw a proper rejection over here was forming that range high for Chainlink that was then acting as resistance and acting as massive resistance before another push to the downside. The push to the downside, aka this accumulation area, can also be seen as a beautiful deviation below that range low, a reclaim of that range low, followed by a bearish retest of the mid-range, and then a bullish retest of that range low area. Now if we simply trade this from a range perspective, we can see that indeed this was a deviation below that range low, and after a deviation of that range low, technically speaking, from there you should be visiting a liquidity pool around that range high. Now we can see that there will be plenty of liquidity resting above this high over here that I'm marking out in red, and that liquidity pool is exactly aligning with that range high of this higher time frame range. So that makes up for a beautiful target on Chainlink around $38. Now if I extend this to the right, we can see that right now is going to be very important weeks for Chainlink, because when I move towards the daily time frame, what we can see is a few very interesting things. We can see that after this very aggressive impulse to the upside over here, Chainlink came back down, took out much sell side liquidity over here once. Then once it took out that sell side liquidity, this low became a significant low to watch. It swept that low one more time over here with a local sweep of liquidity. While doing this, guys, Chainlink was holding this local demand area over here as well. And now that is a massive sign of strength to me by the bulls. Afterwards, Chainlink saw a push to the upside and gave us that first break of structure back towards the upside over here. Now, while getting the break of structure to the upside on the daily, it was doing that by getting a slow grind move over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 14 days of access to the best trading community in the space, Tribe Capital. All that you guys have to do to get trade signals, live streams, educational PDFs, and so much more is follow the first link in the description down below, pay only $1 and get 14 days of access to the best trading community in the space, and I'll catch you guys there. Once again, we know that slow grind moves like this, what are they doing? They are engineering liquidity beneath the lows over here, aka there was liquidity resting beneath this low, and there was some more liquidity resting beneath this low on Chainlink. So I really like the fact that afterwards, after breaking structure over here on the daily time frame, the price of Chainlink went back down to take out all of that sales liquidity, give another retest of the demand, and now I need one final confirmation to confirm the high probability and high time frame reversal on Chainlink. That confirmation that I'm seeking for before I'm entering a massive swing long on Chainlink is to get a break above this high right over here. Because this high would confirm another local shift in trend as well on the daily, because this low over here was quite a significant low. Now why does that low carry so much significance? Because this low swept into this valid and important liquidity pool over here. Then it brought us to a lower high, and this lower high that I've marked out as the high to break brought us to a lower low right over here, meaning that this is a significant high to break. So if Chainlink can open and close a candle on the daily time frame above that high, I feel like you have a high probability swing long position over here. And guys, I've just been explaining my target to you. If you long the price of Chainlink over here with your invalidation beneath that local low, and I'll explain to you guys why this low is so important to break, to hold. And then you get target this range high liquidity pool that we were discussing at the beginning of the video right over here. And guys, this offers a beautiful RR of 5. You can either play this with low margin or you can play this with spot. This trade can take a few weeks, maybe even a month or two to play out, but this is a high probability A+ setup that is currently being developed on the chart of Chainlink. All that we have to do is wait for the final confirmations after we have formed our bias based on the monthly and weekly time frame, and we will trade this range until it breaks, and the next trade for this range is towards this range high liquidity pool right over here for the price of Chainlink. Just some interesting stuff to note as well for Chainlink is that Chainlink around 50.9% of months forms the first pivot of the month during the first 6 days. So that means that half of the months over the last 5 years, which is what I use to gather this data, half of the months form the first pivot of the monthly candle during the first 6 days. Meaning that if I anticipate a bullish monthly candle on Chainlink, the low of the monthly candle 50% of the times gets formed during the first 6 days of the month. Now on the left you can see the monthly open, and on the right we can see the monthly close. Once again, we can see that when I mark out the end of day number 6 right over here, is that we formed the first pivot over here, aka the low of the current monthly candle during the first 6 days. Right now the price of Chainlink is making new monthly highs, new monthly second pivots for the current monthly candle after day 7 has started over here on this second yellow line. Meaning that this low now already has a high probability to hold throughout the rest of this monthly candle over here. So if we are anticipating a bullish monthly candle, we expect this low to hold, and we expect higher targets during the current monthly candle on Chainlink, which is also in line with our bias to break this high on a daily time frame. If you guys like these kind of updates, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. But before you go, make sure to follow the first link in the description down below, and also join the best trading community in the space, Tribe Capital. And I'll catch you guys there. Ciao, ciao!